All right, let's talk accountability. Accountability is one of my favorite topics to go over, and this one is going to be all about how to hold yourself accountable. So, when it comes to the accountability issue, the number one struggle I hear about is this whole concept of not being able to hold themselves accountable by doing the things that they need to do. Okay, it's always the same people that are saying, I know what I need to do, I just can't get myself to do it. Or I always start off hot, I jump on this program and I do really well, and then I just can't stick with it. Okay, and then last but not least is I just can't stay motivated. I just don't have enough motivation to last me, which, if you've listened to enough of the podcast, you know that motivation is not the issue, but let's talk about it. So, when it comes to possible reasons why you struggle with accountability, there's three big ones that I see more times than not. And these are not the only three, but they are going to apply to most people. And that is number one, being overstressed. Number two, chasing surface level bullshit. And number three is not playing to your strengths. So when it comes to being overstressed, you're a lot of people are working with a plate that is not just full, it is overflowing because they're taking on so many things all at once. They're overstressed at work. They're over capacity with what they can give as far as like their family is concerned, trying to make a million appointments and special events and occasions that they got to be present for. And on top of all of that, having a constant flow of unnecessary stress when it comes to social media, the news, toxic people in their life, and things like that. So this results in feeling like you have zero space for yourself. It's just go, 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 go. You're barely holding on. You're just surviving. You're not thriving. And you're surrounded by this constant overwhelm. And it really comes down to carving out space for yourself by adjusting the stress when you can. It comes down to, first off, understanding what you can manage and what you can't. Because if there are stressors in your life that you're worrying about day after day after day that you have zero control over, then that's going to take its toll and you can't do anything about it. So it's basically going to be a lot of worry for zero benefit. So coming to peace with that is a big first step, and just understanding there are certain things that you cannot control. Then there's the stuff in the middle, because we have three sections here. Okay. There's the stuff we can control, the stuff we can't control, and the stuff we can kind of control. Okay. So all the stuff that you cannot control, all of that in that bubble, come to peace with it as best you can, because that stuff is not going to help you in any way, shape, or form. Things like politics, the weather, the traffic, like things that you don't actually have 100% control over, let it be and just understand that that is the way that it is. And then there's that stuff in the middle, which is people around you. So people you have influence on, but you don't have total control over. So things like how your kids act, how your spouse is, people at work, things like that. Pour enough energy into that where it's like you're doing your best, but you don't expect everybody to act the way that you want everybody to act all the time. And then there's total control, which is your actions, things that you do day to day that you have an influence on 100%, that you control. And putting most of your effort into that stuff will pay off way, way more than anything that on that end of the spectrum that you have no control over. And usually a lot of the time, the stuff you kind of have control over, it's going to be better off focusing more energy towards the stuff you have total control over, because you'll be much more satisfied and fulfilled, and you will feel that control much, much more, which is what you're striving for in the other areas that you're basically having false expectations with. Okay. And then by doing that mentally, that'll clear up some space. And then if you can somehow in your schedule create some space, like some physical time for yourself, where you have 5-10 minutes just to sit with yourself and see how your day is actually going, run through the things that you want to think about, and be able to be with yourself for a little bit, just for 5 minutes, whether it's like when you get to work, if you have 5 minutes to sit in your car and not have to rush in, take that 5 minutes. Or when you're done with work and you have to get home, but you can realistically push it for 5-10 minutes, take that time just to sit, breathe, be present. And just like I used to do this all the time, where I have anxiety and I didn't even realize it until a few years ago, but I totally get it now and understand that that is an issue that I personally deal with. One of the best things I ever did was when I would have those super stressful days at work. And honestly, it got to a point where it felt like it was every single day. After work, I would just sit in the car, look up at the sky, and just be like, everything's okay right now. I'm safe. I'm healthy. I'm okay right now. Okay. I didn't have any like major stressors going on, but at the end of the day, like I would always kind of tell myself that, hey, if the whole world went to shit, I know that I'm resourceful enough that I will find a way. If the sky comes crashing down, I'll find a way. I will make it happen. I believe in myself that much. And then if you can do that, it's very empowering and it's very calming. So if you want to give that a try, give it a try. And if you don't believe that stuff, like when it comes to your ability to be resilient and to figure things out, then that's a good area to focus on right there. Just that self belief that, hey, you're alive right now. You figured it out up until this point. You can make it happen. You can find a way. All right. Number two, I'm sorry, I went a little off track, but number two is surface level bullshit. A lot of times we get caught up in the marketing and the BS messaging around weight loss, fat loss, improving your health, and we get stuck in these narratives of I just need to lose 20 more pounds. I'll be good when I lose that 10 pounds. I'll be happy when I get to that point. No, you won't. Let's cut the shit. You're not going to feel all of a sudden happy just because you're a little bit smaller. That's bullshit. It's not true. Okay. Then there's also the I want to feel better or I want to be healthier, which is definitely a step in the better direction. Okay. But at the end of the day, it's not tangible. It's this like gray space of I kind of want this. I feel like I want that, but it doesn't really give us targets. And that's what we need. Okay. What does this goal actually look like? When you say you want to get healthier, how? When you want to say you want to feel better, how? Okay, you need to dive in and figure out exactly what you're going for. Otherwise, again, you're just floating in this gray space of all of this like foo-foo, like all this good stuff that you're saying over and over again, and you feel good, but it doesn't move the needle at all. Okay, you got to figure out, okay, so if I want to get healthy, okay, right now, my HbA1c is a little bit high. I want to bring that down. Okay, how do we do that? Well, we got to exercise. How often do we need to exercise? Well, 2 to 3 times a week would be ideal. Awesome. And then what about nutrition? Well, when it comes to making better food decisions, that can help a lot. And bringing my sugars consumption down to a reasonable level, if not like limit it completely, that would probably help a lot too. So it's like, okay, now we're going to focus on swapping those sugary foods for more nutritious foods. And that'll help a lot too. So now we have two action steps we can actually focus on. And that's how you hold yourself accountable. You focus on those habits, not the, oh, I just want to lose weight. Oh, I just want to do this. It's like that shit does not work. We need tangible things to go after. And then when you do check off those boxes for however many days, celebrate the milestones, celebrate the fact that you have been accountable, because why would you ever keep doing something if all you can think of is, well, I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. I still suck. I'm nowhere near where I want to be. Okay. That's a miserable journey. That's horrible. Why would anybody want to stay accountable to themselves when that's the narrative? That's like having a coach tell you how much you suck every single day and them expecting you to show up super enthusiastic for practice. It's never going to happen. You need to be positive. You need to celebrate the milestones along the way. And then this is the big one, playing to your strengths. This is probably like my number one piece of advice. Okay. So when it comes to basic life skills, how did you learn basic hygiene? Your parents or guardian forced you to actually take a shower, to take a bath, to brush your teeth and things like that. No kid honestly wants to take a bath every single day. No kid wants to brush their teeth twice a day, every single day. You have to have that hammered into you, pretty much. Okay. Next, when it comes to your ABCs and like basic math skills and things like that, how did you learn it? Your teacher. And did you want to learn it at the time? No, you wanted to roll around in the mud. You wanted to play with your friends. You wanted to talk, even though they told you to shut up. Okay. There's a million other things you wanted to do, which is kind of like when you're on this journey. Like you want to lose the weight, but then that fades and you're like, well, I kind of want this pizza instead. I kind of want to like not go to the gym today. There's a million things pulling you off track, but you need something to pull you back in. Okay. How do you get better at sports? Your coach. Okay. There's plenty of times when it comes to a sport that you played growing up where you're like, I'm done with this. I really don't want to practice today. I don't want to go to this game or whatever. And your coach would pull you back in and be like, listen, you want to play? You got to practice. And if you practice, you're going to get better. And when you get better, you start to actually enjoy it a little bit more. And then it also gets into like, why do you show up for things like class, for example, your teacher? That's why you show up. Yes, to get the grades, but who's in control of the grades? Your teacher. Why do you show up for work? your boss or pay in general. Okay. So when it comes to, and for anybody who's like, well, I don't have a boss, neither do I, but technically I got 30 bosses right now and they're all clients. Okay. So regardless, you always have a boss to show up for, whether you're self employed or not. But the general concept is that grades and pay reflect assumed knowledge and performance. So whoever is the gatekeeper for that is the reason that you truly do show up. Okay. So this all being said, there's always somebody to show up for to hold you accountable. Now, are there outliers like people that are self made? Sure. But good for that one person who did it on their own. It's not going to work for the majority of people. Just because something exists doesn't mean it's going to work for you. And it most likely won't, because chances are you're in the majority and the majority of people need help. And on top of that, the people that are the outliers that say they're self made are probably full of shit, because self made is a myth. Successful people always have help. They were always usually born into a family that helped them out. Or if they were born to nothing, then they had people along the way teaching them the skills that they did not learn when they were growing up. There's always some sort of a teacher, some sort of a guide to get people to where they want to be. Mentors and teachers help them acquire those skills and they hold them accountable. Okay. High performing people, like truly high performing people, I've been lucky enough to like learn and coach many of them, being that I'm in New Jersey, or I was in New Jersey, and I worked with a lot of people that were like in New York on Wall Street, corporate people that like did really crazy high performing jobs. And every single one of them outsourced. They outsourced things like personal training, nutrition coaching, therapy and life coaching, business coaching, spiritual coaching. Like they knew to get the job done, they need somebody to push them. They need that external source of accountability. But I know you know where this is going, where I'm like, hey, everybody needs a coach, everybody needs help. And the first thought is that's going to cost a lot of money, which in all honesty, it should not. And that's why I put my prices as low as I possibly can. But just know it doesn't have to be forever. It should be an investment, not an ongoing expense. So, for example, somebody who can coach you, like the way that I do it in my program, I coach people with the intent of them being able to do it by themselves eventually and be autonomous and be able to hold themselves accountable. Okay. That is an investment. It's not like Weight Watchers, which is an ongoing expense that basically says if you drop us, then you will not keep your results. And that's a load of shit. So, is it cheaper in the short term? Yes. When you do Weight Watchers, it's like 20 a month, but multiply that by 20, 30, 40 years. And on top of that, you fall off constantly and you never really kind of get to where you want to be and stay there. Okay. So, do you want to do a short term investment where you actually get the results that you want and the knowledge you need and get the momentum to do it yourself? Or do you want to keep playing the cheap game and never actually learn what you need to learn? Really, it depends on what you want. Okay. But at the end of the day, you will need to learn what you need to learn, and you're going to need to do what you need to do. And then eventually you should be able to move on. You should be able to live your life. Dieting and being on a diet system is not a life sentence. It never should be. It should be a bump in the road where it's like, okay, I got to learn this thing. All right, cool. I know how to do it now. Good. On with my life, on with the enjoyment. And that's what pisses me off about the general state right now of diet systems and things like that. They want to keep you on the hook forever because they set you up with unsustainable plans, like how we were talking about the surface level BS. They set you up with stuff that's not meant to last. That's why these companies have been around for 40, 50, 60, 70 years, because they sell you bullshit and then tell you it's your fault. Okay. Learn the skills, not some BS system that clearly is not working. Okay. And that's what I frame the whole program on when it comes to the Fit 40 program. Like the learn what you need to learn, that's the kickstart. That's the initial 3 months. Okay. And then do what you need to do. That's the legacy. That's the 6 months or more mark where it's like you've done enough life experience. You've like had enough hard times where we work together through them to show you exactly what your maintenance level is. So when shit gets hard, you don't go backwards. You just hit the pause button briefly. And then when you have more to give, you give more. And sometimes when life gets crazy and it's like shitty, and that's your norm, we find a way to still make progress. It's not going to be super duper fast, but it's still a way to make progress. So again, you're never going backwards. You're always getting closer and closer and closer to your goals. And then when you hit that point where you're like, okay, I have achieved the goal body of my dreams and I feel amazing, my health is better, we learn how to keep you in maintenance at that point so you never have to go back. And that way you can move on and you can live your life to the fullest and not have to be like, what's the next diet I have to jump on? What's the next challenge I have to do? When it's like, you shouldn't have to do that. Okay. You shouldn't have to do that for life. And that's basically the whole reason I set the program up the way that I did. Now, if you want a taste of the concepts I'm talking about and get all the knowledge that you need, that's what I put out for free in the Fit 40 family. Knowledge should be free. And spoiler alert, it is. Okay. All the knowledge that you'll ever need is out there on the internet. And there's still people charging for it, which is ridiculous. But all the information that you need is in this group and in the free resources. And I have kept out all of the BS information that also is out there on the internet for you. So you don't even have to lift a finger. You just have all the stuff that you actually need to learn in that group. But at the end of the day, you got to do what you got to do, and you need to learn the skills that you need to learn. You can't just do challenge after challenge after challenge and expect to change your life. That's not how it works. Okay. You got to figure out exactly what's holding you back and figure out what needs to be done day to day, month to month, year to year, so you can live your best life. And that's what Fit 40 coaching is for. So if you're interested in that and you want to apply for it so you and me can hop on a call and see if it is right for you, go ahead and check it out in the comments. But that's it for today. So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you got a little something out of this. I hope that you have more tools to hold yourself accountable, and I hope to see you in the Fit 40 family for sure. But yeah, until next time, I'll see you tomorrow for the next podcast episode. But until then, go kick some ass. I'll see you later.